I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but um, this is a cedar tree right here. I'll show you better in the light, obviously, but uh, this is my process. I'm just taking the 90-degree spine on the back of my knife. Rubbing down the tree. And that's what I get. And this is pretty good stuff right here. This isn't too wet. I think it was just windy enough to keep the, to dry everything out. Yeah, so I figure since I'm cold, since I've slept all I'm going to sleep today, or I don't really think I slept much. A couple times I felt like I nodded off. But I usually woke up shivering. I would kind of recon this area a little bit. Definitely get my bird's nest prepped. And then even start collecting smalls. Or up the hill here I've got a couple down trees. There you go. See, this is what I was getting off these cedar trees. Like a fuzz. Depending on if they're dead or not, sometimes it seems like the bark just comes off in long strips. That's what you want for cordage. Alright, so I'm going to keep this process up. I'm going to keep this up until, either the sun comes up or I fill up all my pockets with this. As soon as I finish this, I'm probably going to break out my buck saw. There's a couple limbs that way that are down that I'll be able to, cut up into, fire-sized pieces. Tonight, God willing, I'm going to have a long fire. So I'm not so concerned about length. If it's 5-foot pieces, that's good. But just to warm up myself immediately and, boil my water, I am not going to do that. I'm just going to have a small cook fire, basically. And, hopefully, once I get it up, it'll stay burning till I go home. That's the plan anyway. All right, I'll catch you later. So it's finally breaking day on day 2 of advanced survival class here at Campcraft Outdoors. I've been up for quite a while now. I didn't really sleep much, but I got up and got active. I've got cedar bark in both pockets, stuffed pretty well. It was dried stuff anyway, but it's been in my pockets, drying out more. I also got, a gathering of flower tops and weed heads and grasses to kind of add a little bit to the tinder bundle. I walked down the creek kind of scouting for locations. I've got from this point that way. Behind the camera is another location. I don't think that person made it. I don't think there's a person over there. Up behind me, all the way up in the hill, it's mostly all field. There's a barn way up there, so that's my boundary. This is the barn. And then up the hill here, there's a lot more cedars and stuff. And then there's a fence, that's my boundary there. But the resources here seem pretty good. I've got a lot of wood right here. So I'm going to let that dictate where my camp goes. I'm right next to water anyway. I'm not in an ideal spot, but I can shift it around a little bit, and then that'll help me save me a lot of time gathering wood later today. I did go all the way down the creek, kind of scouting for spots to camp in, and I was on a resource hike. Found a black walnut, that's medicinal, that's edible. Anything useful. Found an old glass bottle. This is like gold right here. Still got the lid on it. Got another glass jar. So all this does is lets me process more water quickly. I probably have maybe 5 glass containers. I did make it all the way down to where we had the sand chute. At that sand chute, I found like a 10-foot plastic tub that was still down there. So I uncovered it from all the trash or all the leaf litter and stuff. Found it again. Used that to haul back some plastic sheeting, some metal tin, anything that looked interesting. I found something that looked like a car hood or something. It was nearly immovable. I started digging around the edges to see, and it looked like in the center of it was rotted. So it would do me no good to, pull open a big old car hood and then have it, leak water like a sieve anyway. So I'm happy with that plastic tub. That'll be the roof and core of my shelter, and then I'll come off that with the 55-gallon drum liners, hopefully. But I'm not in a real hurry to make the shelter right now because I can use the tub to haul stuff around wherever my camp's going to be. I tried looking in the creek for stones, but with a flashlight it was nearly impossible. There's a lot of leaf debris down, especially in the creek, so it's going to be kind of hard to see the stones that I'm looking for. I'm not that good at identifying chert, flint. I know quartz will strike also. So basically, if it looks good to me, I'm going to pick it up and hit my knife with it and see how that goes. I'm thinking right now, I haven't explored this hillside. I've really only been up there a few times. So I don't know what's up there, but we've got a steady wind from the southwest. And I've got a real big thicket of cedar right here on this opposite hillside. It's blocking most all of that. The further I go down, it gets a little denser, then it actually opens up, and I want to stay away from that opening. Just use that like a natural windbreak. I might go up the hill a little bit and see if I find a nice flat spot that'll work, but I can be happy along the edge of this, off the creek. Where I actually was almost at a draw last night. I mean, I had no choice. I didn't know where I was at. We're not concerned with floods at this point in time, but that's just a danger, something you got to be aware of. So I'm going to take a little break here, let the sun come up. I'm already shedding layers. I'm overheating from dragging all the materials back. I've got to watch my fluids right now. Calorie intake's no big deal. This is a 5-day thing. I've got calories to waste. But I need a fire. I need to fire fairly quickly just to get some water in me, and then I'll establish my camp, because that's going to be pretty intensive for a little bit, and then get enough wood stacked up for at least a night, then work on my mattress. So that's the plan. Like I said before, plans go to hell real quick around here, but I'm going to try. So this morning, like I planned, I raided that other camp. Got some good supplies out of there, like I said. I did do the creek, walked all the way up the creek, up the holler, looking for rocks. No go. There's a lot of leaf litter. I'm just not seeing any small rocks. The only thing sticking up is the real big ones. Today's deliverables are to make camp, make a fire, and then weave a grass mat. So I've kind of changed my mind a few times, but this is what I'm going to go with for my camp behind me here. This is in the opposite side of where I was. This was just opened up to me, maybe an hour ago. It's in a nice hollow. kind of a tight, compact area. It shouldn't take a lot of fire to heat it up. It would be a bad spot in the spring or any time you'd be worried about floods. You know, I'm maybe 20 feet from the river right now, or from the creek, and it does rise up to the edge of where my shelter is. It's cold enough now, I'm not real concerned with it. Plus everything's dry. The creek, there's water in the creek, but it's the least of my concerns right now. So I've got my preps ready. I went ahead and split some wood, split some cedar, almost give me like a one stick fire, feather stick kind of thing to get it going. That should give me a pretty good heart to the fire, and then I can just maintain it from there. My bird's nest material that's been in my pocket all morning, that's sitting on top of my shelter. And again, this is an old feed tub that I found in a field. This was at the last sand chute I found it. So I just kind of got it propped up there. I'm going to come off the back of it with 55-gallon drums and secure it more later tonight. I'm gonna at least filter it. I don't mind stuff I don't mind stuff that I can't see, but I don't like drinking floaters like that. Tastes like a muddy creek. But I'm sure straining it through a dirty shemagh will make everything better. This is survival at its best right here. So truly, once you commit to this, even just a dirty container, anything that's in the water is in you. I'm not going to say if I don't get a fire, I'm not going to not push my luck and stop boiling. I mean, if I do get a fire, I think I will start boiling. But a sip or a cup or 5 cups, you know, it doesn't matter at this point. Hopefully now that I committed to this, that means the next turn I go around, there's just going to be a big pile of flint waiting to be made into a fire. It's like it was just playing water chicken with me, and I think I just lost. I'm assuming it's maybe 10. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's mid-morning. I don't think it's afternoon yet. You can't see the sun. And I got a little dehydrated yesterday. I shouldn't have. I mean, I had access to water, but I was in such a hustle trying to get all these things knocked out so I could get started down here that I didn't do a good job. But I think, like I said, it was probably an hour or two after dark, and it gets dark about 5:30, so probably 6:37 last night. You know, I drank a little bit, dumped the canteen. You got to come out here with no water. You got to get all water and food off the landscape. As far as food, I've got a couple of walnuts, and I've got quite a few green onions actually. So if I do get a fire, I plan on making like an, onion soup / broth or whatever it's going to end up being. I think of my meat. I ate at I think it was like 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and then this is Thursday, so I'm coming up on 48 hours without food. I didn't eat a breakfast before. I was kind of nervous. I didn't want anything on my stomach. I figure if I'm going to go hungry, I'd rather start on my terms than waddle around here with a full swollen belly. And my stomach's growling to me a little bit, but again, that's the least of my concerns right now. I really got my doubts with the fire. That rock's got to come through. I think when I come back, if I don't have a rock, I'm going to shore up my shelter, start on my mat, and then stuff a couple 55-gallon drum liners full of weeds and various material. Not weave nothing, just quick and dirty. And that way at least I'm up off the ground tonight. So I'll have a blanket and I won't be laying on cold ground. And hopefully I just find a rock and can get a fire going. Maybe this water will energize me enough to turn that spindle a little bit more on the bow drill. Alright. These are short days here. This is December, so now today's December 1st actually. So, we were looking at 10 hours of daylight, 14 hours of night. Kind of the opposite of what you want when you're out here in this situation, but I gotta hustle.